My name is Mike DiEva. I'm running for state committee for Delaware County. I'm ballot position A50 this year.
Mike, tell me about your background.
Well, I grew up in New Jersey, actually. And, that kind of instilled that sense of, work, but make sure that there's a level playing field. The idea that there are people out there that need help that can't get it because of what the Republican Party is doing to not only this country, but Pennsylvania specifically, just bothers me to no end. So when I moved here to Delaware County, to Upper Darby, I wanted to make sure that I was able to fight as hard as possible against that. So that's kind of what led us to today.
What have you done with the Democratic Party thus far?
Thus far, I was appointed to the Upper Darby Democratic Committee. I'm running for my first election this year in Upper Darby's 5th District, 3rd Precinct. I've also been active in the Delaware County Young Dems. I'm actually the secretary on the executive board for the Delco Young Dems. I was also helpful in launching the Young Dems podcast called the Delco Young Democast, where we target our sort of conversations towards the younger millennial Generation Z voters, make sure that they hear about the things that are going on, especially locally, because there are a lot of sources where you can find out about national news and politics. There aren't so many where you can find out about what's going on even in Pennsylvania, let alone as specific as Delaware County. So I wanted to make sure that there was a source that was focused on the conversations that people my age want to hear. And, make sure that they're active and they know, not only that they want to help, but that they know how to help.
Where can we find the podcast?
The podcast is at delcoyoungdemocast.com. We also have Twitter and Facebook accounts. You can subscribe to us through all the major podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, all those common places.
How often does a podcast run?
Approximately every other week, but we've been putting out a lot of bonus material since we've been speaking with a lot of the candidates for especially the 5th District race. We've been speaking with as many folks as we can to really make sure that there are conversations, in-depth conversations with the candidates.
Who hosts the show?
It's a rotating cast of folks from the Young Democrats. Largely myself, Amanda Hammock, who's vice president of the Young Dems, Pasquale Cipollone, who is the other vice president of the Young Dems, and Gina Amoroso, who is our treasurer. Those are kind of the 4 main cast members, so to speak.
Why do you want to be on state committee?
I want to be on state committee because, quite frankly, I don't actually know what it does, and I think that that's a big problem. My main concern is bringing transparency and therefore accountability to this entire process. The state Democratic Party is still kind of this nebulous, unknowable entity, and I really want to demystify that whole thing. I want to make sure that when I go to Harrisburg or wherever the committee is meeting, that Delaware County's interests are represented, and represented well, and represented by the most progressive voices possible, and represented by the people with the most skin in the game. The younger somebody is, the longer they're going to be living in Delaware County, the more of a stake that they have in making sure that it's successful and making sure that we have all of the resources that we need to fight and win against the Republican machine here.
Why should people vote for you?
Because I'm not going to take any guff. I think that I've got a perspective that a lot of people don't have. I'm not yet another white lawyer that's going up there to come at things from that angle. Having been through a lot in a short time, having the experience that I have working in green energy, growing up with those welfare casseroles, it's a lot of different things that I think I bring to the table. And I'm going to go there to fight tirelessly for progressive causes and for what I feel is the backbone of the Democratic Party. I'm not going up there to make it a big social event of the summer and spend thousands of dollars or anything like that. I'm going to go up there, I'm going to do what needs to be done, and then I'm going to come home with something to show to the people of Delaware County.
Why is it important that we elect new, young voices to state committee?
Because, speaking for myself specifically as a young voice, I hope that I'm the last heterosexual white man to ever be elected to state committee.
Yeah. What do you mean, I hope we're the last?
There are so many people that are currently making up the Pennsylvania Democratic Party who have very similar backgrounds. You know, they're white, often they come from money, often they're in a legal profession, often they are on the older side. And, you know, I certainly don't want to take anything away from them, but there are so many other voices in the Democratic Party. There are women and people of color and LGBTQ folks and, you know, Latina voices that are severely underrepresented. The trans community, especially, has practically no representation. And while a lot of the folks on the committee are certainly well-meaning and certainly, you know, doing what they believe to be working hard, it's just not an experience that they have. And it's not an experience that I have either. But I know that when somebody comes along who does have that experience, when someone who is, you know, a woman of color or, you know, somebody from the LGBTQ community or one of those other sort of unheard voices comes along and is willing to put in the time and effort to join the state committee or whatever they'd like to do, I know that it will be my time to step aside, and I'll do that happily. My name is Mike DiEva. I'm running for state committee for Delaware County. I'm a ballot position A50, and I want everybody to go out and vote for me on May 15th.